online questions. I can have like about 2 online questions. The first to shoot.
Good day, sir. Good day, ma'am. You said, Barrister, you said we should not keep promise with them if they ask us not to tell anymore. And there is a need to tell people. What should you say to the child? That is number 1.
There is no multiple question, but ask your.
Okay, answer. What should you do when a child is raped and she got pregnant in the process, and the parents took the child to the hospital for abortion because of their own reputation? What should you do? Should you arrest the parents? Or
All right, thank you. Sorry, I'm very sorry. I mean, that was not professional, but sorry. You asked a very good question. Please, can I put your hands together for? Thank you very much. Because somebody may want to ask that question, truly. Thank you. Let me ask.
Okay. As a counselor in going on outreaches, how do you deal with psychological trauma arising from the contents of information you receive? Sometimes ago, a police officer told me, a homicide detective, he said, "Sir, how can I be normal? I see where people are hacked to death. I have to go there as a policeman, and I've been doing that for years." He said, "How can I be normal?" So the same thing applies to you hear some stories, you just wake up in the night and you break down and you can't sleep. How do you deal with that? And also, how do we function? Maybe that's basically for barristers, the legal issues within our scope. And you too, man, you can say something about that we don't get into trouble. You are a counselor, you have no right to recommend drugs or suggest on health issue or any other issue or psychiatric issue. So how do we maintain that? Thank you.
Good day, sir. Okay, my question is not really related to abuse. It's a case of a child where her parents are, she's having difficulties in education. Yes, so they do not want to further her education. I wanted to know the organization that is in charge of such kind of work.
Ma, when you were teaching the other time, you're talking about a school, like a response from some students, and the school was avoiding counseling section. So is it legal for you to drop your number in situations like that? Maybe you can just drop your number, maybe they can call. Then if you notice a particular child that need a further counseling, but after a while you couldn't get through to her because the parents are avoiding you from seeing her, because some parents can actually create threats for a child not to talk to you. How do you get to communicate to the child afterwards?
Okay, ma. My question is that concerning children that are actually close with their parents, but there are some, when you know that there are some things that when you tell them, their reaction is always to the extreme. Like they are very loving, they are caring, but when it comes to issues concerning sexual assault, how to relate with people, when you tell them, this person did this to me, this and that, like till in 5 years time, they will still be referring to that issue. That is how you did this. Like, how can you, is it that there should be another alternative, like you should find someone else to talk to, or even if you want to talk to them, and there are other things you like to share, but you know that their reaction is always out of it. How do you?
Understand, ma. My question is this: you both made emphasis on the need for doing what your counselee wants. So my question is this: what should you do in a case where the person, the counselee, doesn't want you to inform his or her parents about an issue, about one of their cousins that comes to their house attempting sexual assault with her, and she doesn't want you to speak with her parent, and there is a need for the person not to come to their house, but she insists that she doesn't want you to inform her parents? How can you handle the case?
Good afternoon, ma and sirs. Thanks for the session. I don't know whether I will be opportune to ask 2 questions. My first question is, I have a case, a young girl of 5 that is already exposed to sexual harassment, and she now enjoys taking small boys to the school toilets. Number 1, the school is not taking it lightly. Number 2, the school refused to be. Actually, the girl was caught in the church in the act with a small boy. But while talking with the girl now confessed that it all started in the school. But because the school is a school that's like I am a friend to, we try to now intervene and at least inform the school. But the school is taking it negatively. They are not friendly with it. Is that the enemies of their school is the one that is trying to paint the school in another way. And going back to the home, if the school will not work, let's try the home. The parents too are not taking it lightly. And this girl she's going to be 7 now. But each time I go to their house, most of the time they are the children are almost the one at home. I always feel that this act is going on like incest is going on in the home. How do I handle it? Then the second one is, as a teenage minister in the church setting, and the church is not really cooperating with what you believe the teenagers needed. How do you handle it? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I really, I'm blessed. My question is this. Okay, sorry, I have 2 questions. The first one is that, what do you do in a case whereby, Mrs. Omoni, you hammered on it that we should document all our the information of the counselee. But in a case where the counselee saw you bringing out form and they are backing off, what do you do? I have told her, don't worry, I'll keep it confidential, and she's like, no. She's not talking again. What do you do in such case? Then the second one is, there is this girl from one of the outreaches we went to. She had issue of incest with her elder brother. She said it started from the age of 4, all through her upper primary till she finished primary 5, and the brother have stopped. She came crying anyway. So when I told her, so did you tell your mom? She said no. Did you tell her that? She said no. What I deduced from the way she was talking was that at a point she was enjoying it. She did not want to talk to anybody. So when I now told her, what you did with your brother is wrong. It is called incest. Do you know that? She said yes. So do you want to tell your mom? She said each time she wants to tell her mom will tell her she is not interested. She don't want to hear anything. And I said, for years you kept that a secret. And my concern now is that, okay, I now told her, do you want to tell your mom? She said she would tell her mom. I collected her number. Since the day we visited that school, I have been trying the number. It was not going. I sent her a message that, okay, if you don't want to tell your mom, it's okay. I just want you to be okay psychologically, no response. So in that case, what do you do? Thank you very much.
Okay, so lawyer, are you starting? Okay. The first question I noted here is when asked not to tell parents, when asked not to tell parents, so what do you do? You're always going to be having this kind of experience. It is because of their relationship with their parents. It could be because they can assume the kind of reactions from their parents. And children with strict parents, they can already envisage, like, if my mom, my dad gets to know about this, they're going to kill me. So it is the fear. What I do normally is to persuade them and let them see reasons why we have to take the matter to the point of involving their parents. Okay, so just persuade the student to believe in that they are going to get help if the parents are involved. Because please, if you do any case behind the parents, you're still going to enter into trouble. And at the end, consider the age of the victim as well. If you have a child of 7 to 13, like that, telling you not to tell. Like, okay, my brother is having sex with me, and I'm coming to open up to you, but I don't want you to tell my parents. Is that reasonable? It's not reasonable. All you can do is to just persuade, like, please, we need to get you out of this web. This is the gain that we're going to have at the end. Just persuade the child. Then if it is like somebody in SS3, SS2, consider the matter on ground. Does it involve a family member? If it involves a family member, you cannot still keep it a secret. Like lawyer said, try to talk them into a balance. Like, if there is a need for me to say this to someone who is going to be of help, I'm going to say. So give that condition. But when it comes to don't tell my parent, please look at the sensitivity of the case and decide, can this case be handled without involving parents? If the child says I'm masturbating, don't involve my parents, why should you? Just provide materials. Be checking on the students in the school. I'm addicted to pornography. That one is not, you don't need to involve the parents. I once had sex, I did abortion. I want to give my life to Christ. I want to start a new beginning. You don't need to tell parents. But especially when it comes to rape and it involves a relative, please make it clear. I just need to persuade the students. I need to persuade you so that we can get help from the parents as well. Some parents can even sue you for taking up a case without involving them. Maybe lawyer can take the next one and I'll come again.
I want to deal with the one that Pastor Da Costa talked about. How do you treat yourself as a counselor from your own trauma? Yes, I said it earlier when we were talking, that from this work that we do, you would also be traumatized at some point. You would also be traumatized at some point. And like I said, you would need to step back and reevaluate yourself. You might need to also visit a counselor. Do you get my point? You might also need to visit a therapist for you to get better. Sometimes it might just be for you to step back and breathe. You might need to just rejuvenate. You might need to just go for a relaxation time, not getting involved in some of these cases. I tell you, some of these cases are traumatizing on its own. When they bring a case of a 5-day-old child that is raped to you and you see blood everywhere and you see everything, you will definitely be traumatized and you need your sanity. So you might need to step back also. And if it becomes extreme, you might need to also see a therapist by yourself.
Okay, please, I want to share an experience. I've never shared it before. After we handled a particular case, the next day I was still excited. We were able to pull through. But I don't know what happened to me. So I was in the bedroom and I kind of had a replay of everything that happened to the girl, and I just started crying in the room. I've never been depressed in my life, even on my personal issues. But I can't really name what happened to me that period. I was just in the room and I was just crying. My husband was just asking me, like, what is wrong with you? I couldn't even pin it. It was later when I now talked to one elderly woman who is my friend that I'm not happy, I'm just sad, I'm just feeling tired, like that. She now told me that, did I handle any case recently? I said yes. She now said, what did I do after the case? I said it was a police case like that, but I'm fine. She said, you are not fine. The pity, the love that you have for that girl is affecting you. That was the very time I knew, like, so somebody can actually get into trouble while you're trying to help. But what I did was, I understand to see a therapy, but for me, thank God it was spotted on time. So what I did was, I just shut down. No cases this period. I needed time to pray. I was just praying, worshiping God, watching movies, and playing with my husband. So I subscribe to that. Just take your time off and rejuvenate. Engage yourself in all other activities. Okay, when parents are aborted for a child, you do not need to have any fight with the parents. Just try to build a relationship with the parents. Build a relationship. I've done a number of it. I've seen a parent who insisted the girl should go into prostitution. She's a secondary school student. So what did I do? I got the parent's number, the mother's number. So I called her and I told her, my name is Esther. I'm a facilitator for one cause like that. I came to your child's school. I would like to be a friend to the family. And she was happy. And because she's a widow, I was able to tell her like, I lost my father when I was 10. It is not easy. I tried to relate with her situation. That was how we became friends. I didn't say your child told me you are asking her to go sleep with some men and all of that. I just started doing that relationship. And I made her to understand I'm a Christian. And I know you're also a Christian. So let's raise your daughter together. And that was the end. The girl didn't go into prostitution. So whatever it is, the parent has already done the abortion. The victim is your project. Just give attention to the victim. If possible, build relationship with the family so that it doesn't happen anymore. But you don't judge, you don't scold, you don't arrest them. Why will you arrest them? You don't arrest. Just give attention to the students.
I have another angle to it. I could be difficult, especially when it comes to children. I'm a trained child protection expert. And sometimes you live naturally angry. Sometimes when cases come to you, you are perpetually angry. And sometimes it determines my reaction. If I'm in the angry mood and you bring any case, I will clamp anybody in prison. Anybody. If I catch any parent getting involved in abortion, even if you have begged me from now till kingdom come, if I feel that I can't do it directly, I will hint somebody from another angle. Because it's a crime. Abortion is a crime on its own. If I know that you have not committed it and you are envisaging it, I will go through another angle. Because I know you can't walk into a hospital to get it done. You will have to go to all those underground places to get it done. And the child may die. Or something may go wrong. So what I do is that I would probably use someone who is not directly linked to me. I may use a doctor or someone that you can't question how they got to know. And I would report. And we will use that threat. We're not going to get the police involved though. But if you do this thing, we would get you arrested. I have a young lady who was gang raped sometime around July last year. And she got pregnant. Well, she didn't report early. By the time she came to us, she was already pregnant. We took her up. She just gave birth to a girl 2 days ago. You understand? It's difficult. It's all that. But you won't be the one to suggest abortion or to allow them go for it. If you don't know, it's a different kettle of fish. But the moment you know, don't let people tag you as an abortionist. Because that's going to be a minus for your organization. Don't let them tag you as someone who supports abortion. Thank you.
Okay, sir. And another thing I want to add, sir. So in that situation where you take up the case against the parents, what after you are gone and the student is now living a life of hell? Because that's another thing, that when you are now done, it will still now not be like you're offering help to the victim, because you're gone now. The parents will still be living with the child in the house. So how will that kind of a child see it as help that you have rendered?
Now, before you take some of those steps, like I always say, you must be sure that you can go the whole mile. You must have all the assistance that you can give. Like for the young lady I told you about that gave birth, she's been with us at a shelter since August last year. Everything that has to do with her feeding, her hospital and everything has been on us. And also, we already have plans with the state government on her education and vocational training and all that. So you must be sure that you can take it the whole mile. If you can't, don't go and make promises and don't go and stop. But the thing is, while some people might, this young girl, there was a suggestion that she should have an abortion. And she came to me and she said she was told to have an abortion. And I said, you will never get me tell you to go and have an abortion. But what I would tell you is that be ready for a bumpy ride. It's not going to be easy. Life is going to be difficult for you. But your choices are what you should stand by.
Okay, the next question here is when your counseling is holding back because of your counseling forms. We are not going to flaunt the form. If you have a place already where you're going to be attending to the students, you put your paper on the desk and you let your counseling sit, just like this my sister is seated before me. So you don't present it like I'm filling your form, like you're in the police station. You just drop it on your desk and you're trying to take notes. You might not even bring out your counseling form. You can bring out your notebook. All you just need is cogent points that can aid you in your report. So if you feel the person, the counselee is kind of uncomfortable because of you writing, I asked lawyer already, you can use your phone. Before you call the next person to come for counseling, set your phone on record. Before the next person comes, set your phone on record. But for you, what do you use that for? It is to listen to it and fill your form when they are gone. Please delete after you are done. Okay, so...
Sorry, there's something I need to also let you know quickly. When you have some of those things, or maybe you have pictures depicting abuse and videos, because as a caseworker in such situations, people will send you videos and all that. Please make sure that you don't keep it on your phone. It's a crime. It's actually a crime. So when people send you videos of abuses, I see people sending it around when they see a small boy lying down on a small girl and all that. It's a crime that you can go to prison for. So once you get that information, just delete it off your phone. Especially for you that might be planning to travel out and all that. If they catch you at all those places, you are gone. Thank you.
Okay, the next one here is about the insects that the girl and the brother have been into the act. And let me say something. Most of the school management always ride on this point. In fact, the first reaction you will most likely get some teachers put up is that they attack your victim, your counselee. Like, how come somebody has been sleeping with you for 2 years and you didn't talk? So you need to watch it. Number one, it could be because of the threat or anything that has happened. But whatever it is, there are some of these victims who just kind of acclimatize themselves into the act. It is not actually because they were enjoying it. But along the line, what is abnormal suddenly just become a normal thing to you. Like, I've always been in this mess, so let me just keep flowing into it. So we don't always blame them. It can be obvious that at a point you're actually enjoying it because you were no longer screaming, you were not calling for help anymore, you weren't resisting anymore, you're now like submitting yourself. There could be valid reasons why some victims do that. I have handled cases where the girls were brought into Lagos from one village. They are fatherless. And the husband of the auntie is the one sponsoring them, their education. So they knew that if they dare make any reports, that man was going to send them back into the village. And the girls were telling me and my husband that we don't want to go back to the village. So this is why they were no longer raising alarm. They were no longer screaming, trying to fight back. So the fact that you understand the reason behind their non-resistance does not mean you should use it to judge them. Some teachers do that and say like, you want to think bad way, you want to think bad way. So even if it is obvious, just look at how to provide help and just overlook the side of you are also enjoying. Because let's be factual. At a point when force reduces, there will be a little bit of enjoyment, and you don't blame your victim for also enjoying it. There is a part whereby the force gets to reduce when the perpetrator see that you are no longer resisting like you used to resist, so there is a form of enjoyment that comes. So in that situation, most victims that are already finding enjoyment don't even want you to help them. They are already enjoying it, and don't blame them. Just try to look for a way to talk them into the reality of the danger in the heart. Just talk about the danger. You cannot continue like this. You cannot continue this way. So let's take these steps and provide the strategic steps that you want to take.
Maybe I should use another word instead of enjoyment. You will discover that someone who gets addicted to something, not necessarily when they know that they need freedom from it, but they get addicted to it. They can't. In fact, we've had cases where we discovered that some of our victims find themselves gravitating towards their abusers. You see some people that are being abused by a person and they still remain very attached to that person. Some of them, when you want to arrest the person, they will start fighting you not to arrest the person.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that they are enjoying it, but they have come to see the person as part of them. We have a particular young girl who was raped for about 6 years by her uncle. And the moment the uncle traveled for NYSC, this young girl started stealing from her parents to go and pay in Abeokuta Health. She started stealing money from her parents to go and pay mechanic and tailor around to sleep with her. Was it because she was enjoying it? She had become addicted. Her heart was not there, but her body wanted it. I keep telling people, if you know the advert of Pringles, it says once you pop, you can't stop. That's sex. Yeah. Once you begin to have sex, it's difficult to end it. That's why when you see some people, they pray. I don't want to do it with my boyfriend again. The two of them pray there, now. And immediately after praying, Jesus' name we are praying. So the same thing happens. It is addiction, not basically enjoyment. So they get addicted to it and they find themselves going back to it. Okay. So
school management not allowing counseling when parents don't want you to talk to their children. Okay. In the situation whereby the school management is restricting you from counseling their students, I've already shared about it. See how you can still be coming to the school. Possibly, you can penetrate the school fellowship. If the child is attending the school fellowship, you can just have a time. At least 5-10 minutes after their fellowship time, you can just talk one-on-one. You can follow up like that. If the child has a phone, you can also communicate once in a while with the child. Then on the fact that when parents have harsh reactions, like they are just not cooperating, there are parents that do not even want, they just want you to disappear from the scene. The moment they see you're involved, they just want you to disappear. Like, we don't want to hear from you anymore. We are fine. I and my child, we are fine. We don't need you again. Don't undo the matter. Don't do any case. I have experienced it. But one thing I do is I present myself as a friend. In fact, I do tell them that your child is my child. For me to have met your child, this is now my child. So I don't want to involve police. I don't want to do anything. I just want us to raise the child. And they will see the genuineness in what I say, and they would allow me. So just try and talk them into providing help. Let them also see that your major interest is not to make a name for yourself or to have a report, but to help the victim. Along the line, I don't believe they are going to give room to you. But if the parent do not give room to you at all, look for a way to be a blessing to the victim.
Now, I need to also let you understand that in this work, you would always have stiff opposition from schools. Especially owing to the fact that any slightest thing can affect their schools negatively. So they want to hide the fact that any negative thing is happening in their school. So when you get issues like that, the best thing you can simply do is sneak your number to the victims. Sneak your numbers. Someone asked earlier that, can you drop your phone number? Yes, please. Yes, please. Before they tell you not to drop phone number, quickly read it out.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Before they come and tell you, don't give anybody number. Read it out. Give them your Twitter handle, all those
materials.
Most times they would even tell you before you enter that we are not going to allow you to share materials, but you won't give them a hint that you are going to drop your number and everything. Drop the thing straight, so that the children, the ones who need it, will quickly pick it. Do you understand? We do counseling over the phone. We have therapy sessions over the phone, so you can do it. So drop your number. Thank you.
Okay, the last one on my part. Church teenage ministry. So how do you fit in? This one is very, very sensitive. But I want to correct the impression that if the Lord has called you into teenage ministry, then everything is all about child sexual abuse. In fact, if the only thing you also have to offer young people is only about sex, they are going to be running away from you. So there are other aspects of their lives that they also need you to bring value into. So for the church teenage ministry, let me just say it flatly. Know your place. Know what room the church is giving to you to operate. If there are some churches that have their teenage church like that, you can join the teenage units and do what they are doing in the local assembly. Along the line, possibly when they now want to organize events, you can now penetrate with your content. Do we understand? Don't just go, we know you carry the burden, you're passionate, but don't just go into the local assembly and you want to ride upon the system, like I have content to deliver and all of that. No. Do what they are doing in the local assembly. Then along the line, there will always be opportunity for you to bring your content to bear. When we were still worshiping in Redeem, my husband was a minister in Redeem. I was in the choir department. We were doing this our project, and our pastor was aware we were doing it. I was in the choir and I was still in the teenagers church. But there was no time I went to meet them to say, I want to have child sexual abuse talk and all of that. I was just penetrating the church teenagers one after the other. I was giving them my time. They would come around. I would buy them things. I would talk to them. I would send them text messages. Then one day, pastor just woke up and said, with what is happening in the society, I need somebody to have a talk on sexuality with the teenagers. And I told him, Daddy, this is what we do. And he said, yes, you're the one for the job. Then we had the seminar for the parents. We had a seminar for the children as well. So do not try to override the existing system. Just try to penetrate with your content. If you are given opportunity to minister to the teenagers, bring to bear everything that you have. Express your body, share. From the Bible study, you can begin to talk about a dinner and you talk about rape. Just be chipping in things like that and you have your space. And don't try to override the system. We know you carry burden, but work with the local assembly.
I like your angle to it. Beautiful. And I'm going to just buttress it. You are spiritual. So you also need to understand your church.
Yeah.
You understand? Some churches, in fact, a lot of our churches don't want to hear anything sex. So you want to push the message God has sent you. You must be able to clothe it well. For me, I attend Winners. But I have gone to do this work in Methodists, in Anglican, more than in my church. Do you understand what I'm talking about? My church would invite me to come and talk when we have like a round table like this and we do the discussion. But Anglican opened their church service on service days. They would give me 40 minutes to talk. My church won't give me that kind of luxury of time. We are watching time for everything. So you need to understand. But when I come in my church and I analyze things, I know when I can move in. Do you understand? If I go to a church, I don't start by saying, sexual abuse is this one, this, that. But when I start by telling you that when men slept, the enemy came and sowed tears in their midst. And I tell you that we have been in a sleeping state for so long. You need to wake up. Because every day in the newspapers, you see about sexual abuse of children. And are they telling you that they are not Christians? It's happening in the Christendom. You would understand that you will be able to pierce through than you just come in. They are raping our children. You understand what I'm talking about? All right.